Welcome to the Tangle with Kyle Ridley. So great to have you for the second episode of the week. That Chris Frangiola episode got some great traction, a lot of new listeners, a lot of downloads. I really appreciate everyone giving this show a listen, and I hope you'll continue to join me. We have some incredible guests on the way, including today, the wonderful Jeff Hiller. He's an actor, a comedian, an improv pro. He is an author. He wrote my favorite memoir of the year, my favorite book of the year. It's called Actress of a Certain Age, My 20-Year Trail to Overnight Success. You are going to love this interview. He is just a pure delight, laughing all the way through, and some sweet, special, deep moments as well, as you'll read in his book, and we discuss those. But first, what am I tangled in? A couple episodes ago, I got really deep in my personal stuff that I'm tangled in and kept it light last episode with TV shows I'm watching. And, I think today, I think I'm going to have a little bit of a tangled rant because some things are irritating me. And this is a space to share some of that frustrating stuff we're tangled in as well. So where do I start? Okay. We're all familiar with those film festivals, mainly overseas, Venice, Cannes, I believe, where it's almost become a contest to see which films can get the longest applause at the end, the longest standing ovation. And now we see all the clips on social media with the stars standing for, oh, this movie got a 9-minute standing ovation, a 10-minute standing ovation, a 15, 17, 18. I just read that a film got a 22-minute standing ovation. Guys, what is going on? This needs to stop. I can't imagine clapping for more than a minute or maybe a couple minutes if you're at a concert and you're trying to cheer for the encore. I can't imagine just standing, looking at some actors and a director and applauding them for minutes upon minutes upon minutes. And I also can't imagine being one of those people just standing there being applauded for that long. I'm going to get some pushback on this, but it seems very out of touch. It seems quite self-serving. And then I look at people complaining like Taylor Swift is releasing a pop record during such a hard time in the economy and the challenges our nation is facing. And these celebrities are flying overseas for a film premiere, getting decked out in designer clothes to be applauded for an extended, I would say, obnoxious amount of time. I know it's a tradition. It's almost become a game on who can get the longest applause, but it's uncomfortable. I couldn't imagine myself as a celebrity allowing it. I would think after 30 seconds or a minute, like, okay, guys, thank you, sit down, or like just leaving, because we're not curing cancer, guys. They're making movies. It's entertainment. Some of these movies are hard hitting and tackle some really serious stuff, but Jesus Christ, I'll give you 30 seconds, maybe a minute, maybe 90 seconds. Any more than that, stop. We have to stop. What else? So Saturday Night Live, around this time every year, we get to hear about who was let go from the show, who's leaving the show, who's joining the show. I'm really sad to see Heidi Gardner go, although 8 seasons, that's an incredible run. I'm sure she left on her own accord or it was amicable. She has her own TV show with Shrinking and all those commercials. She's going to blow up. She already is. So happy to see her. Her and Ego are my favorite cast members. So now Ego is my fave. Although I love Mikey Day as well, and of course Bowen. But why the hell did they let go of Emil Joachim, who was by far the best new cast member last year or featured player? He should have been promoted to a series regular, not cast aside. It's beyond me. And I look at the cast, there's a good handful of people that should be out the door. Last thing that I'm really annoyed with, tangled in, and I know I can block it, and I have been blocking it on TikTok as they come across, but sometimes they lure you in by just the bizarre train wreck that it is, are these, they're called mukbangs. Okay, that's one thing. If you're taking a bite or two of something, but there's this whole dark corner of TikTok of people who are oftentimes overweight with thousands and thousands of followers, sometimes hundreds of thousands of followers, with mounds of food in front of them and eating platefuls, bowlfuls, platterfuls of desserts and fried foods and fast food that they're bringing home and eating it in front of the camera and making noises. I guess to some it's satisfying, to some it's fascinating, but it's As someone who has openly struggled with eating disorders and have been in recovery for a very long time and still battle, body image issues at times, it's alarming to see these people stuffing their face and sort of living on screen for their next meal. I know what that feels like, but to do it in such a public manner and to be, I guess, applauded, given an audience, to essentially clog your arteries and ruin your heart and your body and your mind as well. It's a difficult watch. And then there's a whole other corner of TikTok of people who clearly are struggling on the other end of the eating disorder spectrum, who are not eating and showing off skeleton thin bodies. It's painful. My heart goes out. I just wish for anyone struggling in that way to seek help and get untangled from that and not put it on display for others to cheer on or mock or criticize or applaud or encourage. It's such a private, difficult thing to deal with, any type of eating disorder. And I just hope the help is being sought. And I can see it's not in many cases. Whew, guys, let's lighten up because our guest today is so dear, so funny, so talented, and is finally getting some long overdue attention, some overdue shine, an Emmy nomination for Best Supporting Actor for his role in Somebody Somewhere. His name is Jeff Hiller. Again, his memoir is Actress of a Certain Age, My 20-Year Trail to Overnight Success. Please give it a read. It is full of laughs, full of heart, full of warmth. You're going to love this interview, and I hope you're going to love seeing him on that Emmy stage. If not this month during the Emmys, then a future broadcast, because his talent is limitless. Here he is, Jeff Hiller. I loved your book. It's my favorite book of the year, and I'm sure it will be of the whole year. I don't see anything beating it. It's just such a joy, and I read it. I also listened to a lot of the audiobook. It's such a delightful, heartfelt book, but hilarious as well.
Thank you. I'll take it.
And as you can see, like in my background, it's just full of, and these are all basically memoirs, like me, you, Chelsea Devantez. That's our thing. That's what I love.
It is my thing. Look at all those orange books. Just kidding. Yes.
Well, first I want to start some of these questions. I'm sure you've been asked a ton since you're in this whirlwind of press right now with all this attention with your Emmy nomination. So congratulations on the Emmy nomination and the book. How does it feel to be a 20-year overnight success?
It feels good. I mean, it does feel good. It's surprising, and it's not like life is perfect all of a sudden, but it also feels like, oh, it sure does feel nice to have like a little momentum. Yeah.
And hopefully a little money, because the book covers a lot of those struggles.
That would be great.
Yeah. And is it overwhelming at all to you? Do you feel like you need a personal assistant now? Is there's inundated with requests and emails?
Oh, I needed a personal assistant when I was 20 years old. Yeah. I mean, I just am not good at running my life at all. There are a lot of emails that I have to deliver, and I'm not the best at it. But yeah, I'd love a new personal assistant or I'd love one. I'd never had one. I don't know why I said new.
Well, there's a lot to cover. I want to start with the book, Actress of a Certain Age. Let's start with the title, because parts of your book really refer to age and kind of feeling like you were behind in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And especially when you hit 40, it really hit you hard. And working in Hollywood, you obviously has witnessed it with a lot of your female friends. You said as soon as they turned 40, their agents were dropping them. So why did you choose that title and really focus on your age? And even when you're uncomfortable, you wanted to put it out there right away.
Yeah, well, because I told myself that I wasn't ever going to have any sort of success that I wanted because I had aged past 40, and I was wrong. And so I kind of want to tell people, like, don't get into that mindset, because it's not true. Your life continues after you turn 40. Just because our culture doesn't necessarily value people who are aged, committed that cardinal sin of aging, it doesn't mean that your life is over. And also, I wanted a sort of campy title and a little winky title. And that is a phrase that is sort of, it's a little insulting about, like, yeah, women who have aged, she's of a certain age, I mean, and usually when they say that, it meant like, hide her neck or whatever. Give her a turtleneck or whatever. And I wouldn't mind taking a little air out of that ridiculous notion that women are no longer viable post 40.
Did that play into the cover decision to wear a scarf covering your neck and hair?
A little bit. Well, I kind of thought that we would get to have like some sort of fancy cover shoot because, I saw Sex in the City, and when she did her first book, she got that fun cover shoot. And, Samantha's all like turning on the wind machines and stuff. But it turns out they're like, do you have any pictures? And this magazine that I did a shoot for called As If Magazine had a bunch of pictures, and they just went to the photographer and said, can we license these? And so that was the one that looked the most sort of, I thought it looked a lot like, do you remember that movie Topper? I don't know why you would. It was like from the 40s, but
No.
like, it's about like this ghost in a car who's driving a car. It's not a very good movie, but like whenever the woman gets into the car, she always ties the scarf on her head exactly like that. And I thought, oh, that's so Hollywood.
Yeah, I guess Topper, and then it was also giving Grey Gardens. That's what I
Mm,
thought.
that's a better reference that more people will get. Yeah.
Each chapter is based on a memoir title of a celebrity memoir that you have read. When did your fascination with memoirs start? Were you a teen, and did one at that age really stick out to you? Like, this is my thing. This is what I love to read.
I did read one of the first memoirs I read was Gilda Radner's memoir, just because I loved her so much and I was so sad when she died. But it wasn't really until I started acting about 25, 26 years old when I needed hope. And somehow reading a book about someone who made it felt almost like a roadmap for me. And also like my idea of made it is like, what does that even mean? You know what I mean? Like that's so subjective, but I just liked reading them because I like hearing people's lives stories, but I loved getting to the part where they had their first bit of success, and it fed me somehow. I liked it.
Yeah, and so each chapter also starts with at what age they got like their first big break, and so that also again plays into the age. Did you hear from any of the authors that you referenced at all?
Rachel Dratch, but she's actually a friend of mine, so that's not so weird.
Yeah.
um, I gave Rachel the book early, and she was like, "Oh my God, the first chapter is me." And then she said, "I don't know if I can guarantee this for every reader." And then I gave it to Tina Fey to blurb, and she said, "How come no Bossy Pants?" And I was like, "I know, because Bossy Pants is one of my favorite books, but I didn't find any chapter that could even. I'm just not Bossy Pants, so there was no
You're
chapter
not
that."
bossy. What are you reading right now? Any current memoirs or some that you just finished?
Um, I am in the middle of Roseanne Barr's memoir, provided to me by our mutual friend Chelsea, who wants me to maybe come on her podcast and talk about. I had never heard that one. She was like, "I cannot believe you haven't read Roseanne Barr's," and so she mailed it to me. She mailed me a copy.
Those are wild. She has a couple memoirs. Those are very, very wild. Yeah.
I'm not normally the kind of person who reads them to sort of hate on them. I'm not really like, like there are a lot of like celebrity book clubs that like are reading them to be like, can you believe what Vanna White said? That's not really my thing. My thing is more like good feelings or whatever. I just read that Ione Skye one, and I read Kathleen Hanna, and I just read the new Brooke Shields is really good. Brooke Shields is not allowed to age or whatever. It's good.
I'm looking at ones that I've read recently other than yours. So I'm reading the first of Julie Andrews. She has two. I'm reading her first one.
I've
A
read
little
both of them.
slow, but
The
I think I'll
second,
like the second one better because it's about her work.
and it's about Hollywood. It's kind of fun. She says some crazy stuff in the second one,
Okay,
including
then
that
I'll
Blake Edwards called her vagina a lilac bush. Wild.
I mean, she's a treasure, so I will invest in both of them. Next up, book covers your whole life, highs and lows. You cover a lot of hilarious stuff and really deep stuff. So you cover bullying, you cover your religious upbringing, you cover coming out, and then you also have a couple butthole stories.
Three to be exact.
So, how did you decide on what was most important for you to include in your life story?
Well, I knew that I had to tell something about growing up in the church because it was such a huge part of my life. And then the bullying thing, I was like, oh, I just really feel like I talk about it in therapy way too much for it to not have been a very important thing in my life. So I wanted to include that. And then there were some things that I included that my editor was like, we don't need this. And so we cut him. So I wasn't like all perfect.
Was the process a long process for writing? Did you find it enjoyable?
I did. And the way I write is, or for this book, the way I wrote is I wrote stand-up shows so that I could find the jokes. Because I wanted to hang real feelings, but I wanted to hang them around jokes so that people wouldn't. I didn't want to get maudlin. I didn't want to get twee. And so I wanted to make sure that I was honest and authentic, but I also wanted to have yucks. So I wrote several stand-up shows about different holes in my life that I needed to address. And it was helpful.
And you're also very vulnerable writing about, you have a chapter on your appearance. I read that you said that was very important for you to include, that you really fought to get that in the book, and that it was also the hardest one to write. Can you talk about why that was so important for you to address?
Yeah, well, because um, I'm not conventionally attractive, and I know that. But there is something about trying to be an actor where it comes up all of the time. Because, you're always having to say, like, what do I look like so that I can get cast in roles, but they have to look like this. And let's just say nobody's ever casted me as like the romantic lead or like a male model or anything like that. And and when I started doing press for season 1 of Somebody Somewhere, so many people were like, "Is it important that everybody on your show is a big old fuggo?" They were a little more gentle than that, but it was basically a lot of the questions were about like, is it important to be on TV even though you are so hideous?
So
And
brave.
exactly. So brave of you to put that face out there. I think we all feel some sort of way about the way we look, and are feeling insecure about that. Even Angelina Jolie probably like thinks she has knobby knees or something weird. And I think that that is the place where I feel a lot of tenderness. Like when I look at Instagram comments and stuff, that is the part where I'm like, "Ooh, ow, why are you saying that?" And so I just thought, if I'm having these feelings right now that are making me hurt, I want to say those. I want to write about those. And so that's what I want to do. Also, I don't know how you feel about that. So I'm gay. Newsflash.
Same.
Breaking it out here. But like I never want, like, I always know that people can tell I'm gay, but I want them to know that I know that I'm gay so that they don't think like, I know this thing about you and you're too stupid to real. I mean, this is like a weird thing I have in myself. And somehow there's something about this thing of like, I feel like I have more power if I say like, I know you think I'm unattractive, but I don't care about what you think about my looks. And somehow there is a little bit of power in that for me.
Yeah, and the first season is when you first started seeing a lot of the comments. You're national on a national show, and then interviewers are asking you those questions. Writing the book a couple years later, and now having it released with that chapter, do you think the sensitivity has lessened, or does it hurt still when you read those things?
I mean, it doesn't feel good. But I mean, we're talking like 99 comments that are like, I love Joel, and then one comment that's like, his hair is weird. That's it. I mean, this is not like what like Leslie Jones went through after the Ghostbusters movie or anything like that. It's nothing like that. Yeah, I am a little less sensitive to it, and I am also like, that's their business, it's not mine, that kind of thing. But you can't help but feel a little
Well,
ouch.
you look fantastic, Jeff. Calm down.
Thank you, Kyle. You too.
Another serious topic, you write really heartfelt about your mom and your relationship with her and losing her. What would she think right now? What would she have done the morning of the Emmy nominations or the morning of your book release?
Mm. Oh my gosh, this summer would have been, her little head would have been exploding. She It's the saddest part about the success. It's the only sort of bad part about the success I have, which is that I do keep thinking she would have loved it and just celebrated it and been so happy about it. But another part of me, if you would permit me to get a little woo woo, and I recognize this is woo woo and that there is no basis of science in this statement, but sometimes I am a little like, I think she's making this happen. I think she's like giving me this gift and being nice to me. I know that's ridiculous. And if you started to pick it apart, I wouldn't be able to defend it, but I do feel that way.
I think that's beautiful and could very well be true. Do you communicate with her still? Do you feel a presence?
Yeah, totally, totally. And my sister and I talk about her all the time, so it's not like she's forgotten by any means. Yeah, she still lives on. She was a big presence. Even my husband will be like, "Oh boy, Mary Hiller, she'd be mad about Trump today, wouldn't she?" That kind of a thing.
Was he dealing with your whirlwind success and you getting such a big head?
I think he's excited about it. I think he's really into it. He I think he's really excited to get to go to the Emmys
Do you
and
know
I
what you're going to wear yet?
not not exactly. No, I don't know what I'm going to wear yet, but I have this vision, but no one has been able to fulfill said vision as of yet, but I'm hoping to find someone who will.
That sounds promising. If only we had fashion police. I keep saying that was the last heavy topic. I also want to talk about bullying. Be- No, because I experienced it also. It is brutal, especially in middle school, but I want to know specifically merging into somebody somewhere, what was it like for you to write about bullying and then to have that scene in the final season where your character Joel, his bully apologizes to him?
I mean, the really wild thing is, I mean, maybe they had heard by then, although I just think they were like plugged into some sort of psychic tunnel or something. But those writers wrote so many things that mirrored my life so perfectly. And that was absolutely one of them. I had already written the chapter. I found that scene to be very cathartic. And they came to me and said, we're writing this thing about like the ideas that Joel was really bullied. And I was like, yeah, okay. Wow. That's so crazy that you know that. And they said, what would be the thing that you would want to hear from a former bully? And I just said, sorry. And so that's what they did. And so in real life, I've never had someone who used to be my bully apologize to me. So it was really very beautiful to have it happen there in a sort of like, I don't know, fake scenario that felt real.
Yeah, and the character of Joel, very similar, but it wasn't written for you. You auditioned for it, but you identify with so many aspects of his life. And it seems like everyone wants to be Joel's best friend or they want him to be their best friend. What are you taking away from that show? What are you adopting of Joel's that you're trying to model in your everyday life now?
Oh, that's a really good question I've never heard before. And I am. I'm taking his empathy because I kind of already had the sense of humor. And of course, I'd love to be able to plan parties like he is, but that's just never going to happen. So instead, I'm just really taking empathy for other people, empathy for myself, empathy for the world right now, which is in a lot of pain, and just trying to be good.
Yeah, I also feel like you've always had empathy, I'm sure, because as you write in the book, you were a social worker and left that because it hurt your heart a bit, I'm sure. And it wasn't your passion.
And I was bad at it. You're being very kind. I was bad at it.
But do you feel like you lost some of that empathy along the way and trying to make it and maybe became a little cynical?
Less about other people and more about myself. I think I did maybe become, or certainly about the business, I became cynical. I don't, I might still have a little cynicism around the business because it is sort of, it's pretty shallow.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. And, but I never ever like got to a point where I was like, homeless people just need to get a job by any means. But I definitely was burned by the lack of caring within the showbiz community as so much as it is a community.
Are there any showbiz friends that you came up with that you would still consider like really in your corner who have known everything that you've gone through in this book?
I have two friends named Katie. One is from Denver, Colorado, and one I met at the Upright Citizens Brigade. My friend Lennon Parham, who directed some of the episodes, I think is a person in showbiz and still and knows me. And then of course I have lots of people who aren't in showbiz who are dear friends who know all this stuff and who are kind about it.
And Bridget wanted you to audition for this role. She thought it would be great for you, but you weren't super close before this show. You had seen her live and were a fan of hers, but your relationship is so natural on the show. Wasn't it an emotional set because it's full of laughs, but it also feels like every character they're just walking this thin line where they could fall into crying hysterically or laughing hysterically one moment or the other. Did it feel that way on the set? Was it kind of heavy and light at the same time?
Yeah. I mean, I think there were definitely certain scenes that were heavier than others, but you know what Dolly says in Steel Magnolias? Laughter through tears is my favorite emotion. So I think I think we were kind of universally we felt that way because I think in a way, I mean, we weren't like constantly weeping, and there was a lot of, a lot of just laughter too. But I think in a certain way, life is that, right? You're always just going through and being like, I got all these emotions in me. And unless I'm numbing them, I got to feel them.
How was that to maybe not even stretch yourself, but how was it to finally be able to showcase crying on screen and getting really in depth with those emotions, being vulnerable when, you're not just playing waiter?
Yeah. I mean, I mean, the crying was part of it, but I think it was kind of more than that. It was just like seeing his interior life, seeing how the scene was not every scene, but like I got to have moments where I really got to examine this character and really like show all sorts of sides of him and stuff like that. And that was thrilling. I'm not saying I'll never go back to playing a waiter. I will happily go back to, I guess I'd be like the restaurant manager at this point. But I get that you can't have every character have an interior life. It would be impossible to tell the story, right? You need your main characters that you plug into. But I just knew I had more to give and I wanted to give it. And I was so thrilled that I got to in this show. It was so fun and made me feel like an artist. I know that sounds cheesy, but it did.
It, well, I mean, it's won several awards and many people love this show. And I think it is a work of art. It's unlike any other show out there. And more people are discovering it. Maybe it'll come back someday.
That'd be great.
Your Emmy nomination, your Emmy win, maybe.
I don't
It's you and
think so.
Harrison Ford. You and Harrison Ford.
Yeah, oh yeah. We're the same. Me and Indy, we're totally the same.
It could totally happen. You have my vote. And with those beautiful relationships on screen, can you talk about your relationship with Tim Bagley? Because that's such a thoughtful, caring, delicate relationship on screen. Did you know him prior? And
No.
how did you develop that chemistry, or was it just natural, just acting?
Try acting. It, I really like Tim, but I hadn't ever met him before, and but it was really easy with him because he's so good. I mean, he's really, really present. I think it's because he started as an improviser too, and so we're both like really listening and offering things. And I've seen him on screen for like my forever, but he is so good at being this wacky character. We've seen him be this wacky character, but to see him like be tender and deep and profound, it was almost as exciting as getting to be tender and deep and profound. You know how they say, how do you get an actor to complain? Give him a job. Because on set there's always someone who's like, well, it's just ridiculous that we had to come in at 7 a.m. and now we're sitting here. There's always someone like that, or someone who's like, the actor housing at this theater sucks, and let me just tell you that and I've been that actor too who complains when I shouldn't be, but I will say that on this set ain't nobody was complaining because every single actor realized what a gift this show was, what a gift being able to do this show was. And so everybody showed up and was like, I can't believe they're letting us do this.
How was housing? Did anyone room together?
Yes, that's so funny. How was housing? How was housing? We did live together. Bridget Murray and I lived together the first 2 seasons, and then I got a dog, and Bridget had just gotten a dog, and so we weren't sure that they would live well together for season 3. So I lived with Murray, and Bridget lived alone. But then it turned out that the dogs loved each other, so we were over at her house all the time.
It's awesome. And you shot really fast, like 6 weeks for a whole season.
Yeah. Yeah, for 7 episodes.
So was it like really long days and then you just go home and crash or go home and have a drink together and board games?
Yeah, board games. We would go home and usually run the scene for the next day, whatever we were doing the next day. And Bridget was like, I mean, Bridget would be like rewriting stuff the night before and constantly, every single season, just to make sure that it was perfect. And she'd be on the phone with either Hannah and Paul or with Carolyn Strauss, who was our executive producer, just like really running over what they were going to be doing the next day and making sure that everything was set up and ready, and took, making sure that all the lines were correct. We would have a party almost every Saturday night. But we never drank I mean, a lot of times he'd be getting home at 1 a.m. It's like, I don't want to have a drink. I want to go to bed.
Is there anything that you are taking away from working with the relationship on screen and maybe off screen with Bridget and then also Tim Bagley? Like anything that you took away from that romantic relationship and that best friendship that maybe you learned?
Well, the relationship with Tim, there was a lot of similarities with my own where, I said to them, I was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe you're writing this thing about the dishwasher. My husband and I have the same thing." And one of the creators of the show said, "Everybody has problems with the dishwasher." But I think what I loved about that from season 3 especially was how you have to mourn what you've lost as you've aged, but you also have to be grateful for what you have. And I think that's what Joel's whole arc was in season 3 was like, I love Brad, but I'm still sad about the things that I wanted and didn't get, primarily kids and things like that. But I think that's life. And I'm taking that away too of like, okay, I am so grateful for what I have, but of course I still need to mourn the things that I wanted and didn't have. And with Bridget and our friendship, what I'm taking away from that is, which I think they portrayed so beautifully, and you never really see portrayed in such a real way, is like especially in season 2 when they had the fight, and then they came together and they worked it out like grown-ups. And Sam says, I tend to put people into categories and I won't let them get out of those categories. And that was something that I just felt like is so true of me too, and something that I really want to not do.
I mean, he's a lovely character, that Joel.
He really is.
And when with that, with Tim Bagley not having kids and mourning that, was that something the writers just came to you with, or because you touched on that in your book as well? Was it just this thing that, oh, they're modeling my life and they don't even know it?
I think it was that. Yeah. Yeah. Because I didn't tell them that. It's just this weird, they have some sort of weird, I don't know, portal that goes into my brain. And they really did write so well for me to the point where I really was like, "Are you sure you didn't write this for me?" And they're like, "No." It's just
That's so
coincidence.
rare. That's so rare.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. And I recognize that and feel grateful for it.
So now I want to talk about coming out, but not coming out as gay, because you said everyone knew, people knew with me too, but you come out in your book as being funny, coming out in comedy, and also having the confidence of declaring, I'm funny, I want to do this, I'm not a social worker, I'm going to go after this. How did that confidence come about? Or really, did it take 45, 6 years until you're writing this book to be like, I'm funny?
Well, it took 45 or 46 years for me to admit it out loud, for sure, because I was embarrassed. But I told you about my friend Katie from Denver, who's actually not in showbiz. So why did I say her? But she did improv in college, and she was like, "I'm going to go audition for this troupe," and I went with her. And immediately when I was there in the audition, I was like, "I know exactly what to do. I'm very funny. I'm not scared. I can totally do this." And that was so exciting. And I was so desperate to perform because I'd done plays in college, but I hadn't performed at all for the last 2 to 3 years. And I was just hungry for it, hungry, hungry. And so it felt like this great gift. The moment, they say the first taste is free. It was like drugs. I was like, I need more of this. I need more of this. And I wanted to be a performer so badly. But I also thought it was embarrassing to admit. So it did take me a while to like tell people. So I lied and said I was going to move to New York because I was going to get my master's in social work. And I had been accepted. I did apply and was accepted, but I knew even before I left Denver that I was like, I'm not gonna go to school. I'm gonna be a star, an actress.
You've said you would work like 3 or 4 days a year on an acting gig or like a one-off role, and then you were doing improv classes and teaching improv and temping. You are such an artist, and how did you sustain yourself when you only got to do it for like 3 or 4 days a year on camera? Did the improv really fulfill you in that sense?
100%. Absolutely. And it still does, it gets a lot of shit. A lot of people are like, oh God, improv. I had to go to somebody's improv show. Oh God. It gets that for a reason. It's not always good. But to be able to perform without any barriers was such a huge gift. And to be able to not have to worry about what I look like or whether or not we can get a stage or costumes or wigs or anything. You can just show up and do it. My joke is always, you don't even need an audience. um, because we definitely did a lot of shows for empty houses. But it was so, it was like it fed that need to perform. And it that really was such a help in getting through 25 years of not getting to perform that often.
Often are you performing now? And not just improv, but stand up. Like, do you think you would go on tour? You're probably in demand now. Do you have an hour you could tour with?
Do I have an hour?
Do you have a special in the
uh,
works? Mm.
I would love to have a special. I don't have one in the works, but I would love to. But I do have an hour that I am touring that I wrote because Joe's Pub, which is a venue in New York City, was like, "Hey, do you want to do a show in August?" And I was like, "Okay." So I did it, and that was last August, and so I've been doing it this year here and there. I've had actually some work. Thank you. So I wasn't able to, and I was also promoting last fall for somebody somewhere. So I haven't had a chance to do it as often as I would like, but I go everywhere.
Well, I hope you come to DC. That would be incredible. Do you make it here ever?
Well, I did do the show once in DC, and it was a 350 seat house, and I could only sell 99 tickets. And I was like buying ad buys on Facebook and stuff. So DC's maybe not that's not where my fans are the
It probably
most.
is now. You're
Is
an
it?
Emmy nominee. You're Jeff. Okay, what are you tangled in right now that you are absolutely loving? And then after that, what are you tangled in that is frustrating that you really need to get untangled from?
Okay, this is sort of a cheeky answer, but the thing that I'm really loving and I'm sort of obsessed about right now is I got platinum status on Delta. And I'm like, what do I have to do to get diamond? And I have to spend somewhere in the neighborhood of $11,000, which is not a reason, not a reason to spend $11,000 just to get diamond.
Ah,
But I am
cheaper
like,
than a toupee if you read your book.
it is. Isn't that crazy? But just barely.
$15,000 for a
But just
toupee?
barely. I know.
I know.
I know. For a hair system. Yeah. Anyway, so that's what I'm sort of tangled up in is like, how do I do this? What are the benefits of platinum? How do I get an upgrade?
Are you binging anything right now?
Um, well, last night I just caught up on and just like that, which I'm into. And oh, we're binging slow horses. Slow horses. Slow horses.
All right, what's a little annoying right now that you need to get detangled from?
Ugh, this woman, I don't know why this really bugs me. This woman wrote a book called Toxic Empathy, saying that she's a conservative activist and saying that empathy is can be bad. Being nice to people can be bad. And she's also like a Christian, and it just bugs me. It's like the one thing the Bible just really harps on is to love one another. And this lady's just like, no, no, poor people should die and rot in hell. You know what I mean? It's so crazy.
It sounds like she's using trigger words and the title that it's all about the title. Ugh.
Yeah.
But you're reading it?
Can't get enough of that.
All right. Well, in our final minutes, I want to go through some of these roles or shows, and you can give me like a sentence or two, a highlight, or maybe some goss, anything that sticks out when you first hear it.
Okay.
First, I want to read some of these roles that you have been when I looked at your IMDb. Not names, but non-named gay man, naked guy, geek club guy, gay 4, showgirls fan, waiter, man with cold, uh, frazzled salesman.
And some of those, it was like a negotiation with like they were originally written as something else, but then they like, as a negotiation with my agent, they would be like, what if we give him a name? And it would be like, if, his name is Sam. And it's like, nobody ever calls him Sam. You never know that his name is Sam. They just were like, that way your IMDb has a name instead of a profession.
I laughed out loud at gay 4.
What's that from? Do you know? I can't even remember.
Oh, I think it was, what was it? Gay. Maybe it was gay. I think gay was in the title. Let me look it up.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't
Gay,
matter.
Gaby, maybe? Were you
Yeah,
in Gaby?
I was, but that was Showgirls fan.
Okay, then I'm going to find this for you.
Oh,
Jeff
I know what it
Miller.
was. I know what it was. It was my friend Kate's thing. And I was gay number 4. And I pushed her. I pushed her across the floor because she tried to kiss me.
Yes, it was. It was Submissions Only
Yeah.
TV series, 1 episode.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with American Horror Story, where you played a gruesome killer chopping up people.
Yeah. I mean, that was like so exciting. And it was like the first really big Hollywood thing I'd ever been a part of. And I went to a brunch for the cast, and it was outside in August, and I couldn't stop sweating. And people were like, do you want a napkin?
Did you audition or did Ryan know you from something?
I had auditioned and I had a tiny role in the Watcher, which was a Ryan Murphy property. He was editing that scene at the same time that Alexis Martin Waddell, who's the president, or was the president of Ryan Murphy Productions, she was watching Somebody Somewhere and was like, "Oh my God, this guy's in Somebody Somewhere. He's really good." And so I think Ryan watched that, and that's why they offered it to me. They just offered it to me. That never happens.
Are you sure they didn't see your role in this next film, Ghost Town, where you play naked guy?
Played naked guy, yeah. Most of my good stories from that are in the book,
Yeah,
but
definitely read it. That's one of the butthole stories.
basically, I had to wear a flesh-colored thong on the streets of Manhattan, and it was disturbing not only for me but for others.
Was that set interesting set?
Yeah, I mean, it was really good. I write a story in there. Taya Leone was the lead, and I write a story in there about how like she said something. She was trying to be funny. She wasn't trying to be mean. And
That's right.
like some of the people I like, I've had actors be mean to me on set, and I didn't put them in the book because
I remember that comment. It's for me. That was the
exactly.
comment.
Yeah, she
Read the
said.
book to get the context. You had a small role in Ugly Betty. What was that like?
It was really fun. I remember like I got there at 6 a.m. and I was like wrapped by 9:30 a.m. It was like so quick. But the big thing was when you're have a really small role, but you're a really big, physically large human being, they ask you to bring your own clothes. And they were like, it just needs something more. It needs something more. And they were like, how about this hat? And they put a hat on me and I was like, oh, this hat's so great. And they were like, it should be. It's RuPaul's. And I wore a RuPaul hat. I had to give it back.
Wow. This next movie I loved, and I feel like it's gone under the radar, but I was a morning news producer, Morning Glory.
Yeah. I love that. I got cut out of that movie for the most. All my lines got cut out of that movie. But what I loved about it was I got to go to the table read and like I mean I didn't really meet them. I just sort of saw them of like Diane Keaton and Harrison Ford and Jeff Goldblum, and I mean it was like all these insane things. And then when even though they didn't make it into the movie, I had all these scenes with Rachel McAdams, and I just really liked her. I've always loved her, and she was what you want her to be. She was great.
Well, you and your friend Harrison can bond over that at the Emmys.
Yeah, I'll tell him. I'll tell him we were in a room once.
Now, how I first know you is Nightcap.
Oh,
So
you
talk
saw
about that
Nightcap?
experience. Yes.
Wow. Um, I thought that show was really good. It aired on a network that was not really big yet, and so it really went under the radar.
What was it on? Pop? Was it on?
Pop. It was on Pop, which I think is famous because that's where Schitt's Creek started. Schitt's Creek didn't really get
Yeah.
discovered until it went on to Netflix. But it was a really fun, super fun experience where like I did scenes with all of it because it was a show that took place at a nighttime talk show, and I played a really dumb security guard. And I was only supposed to be like in a couple episodes, but then they just kept bringing me back, and I was in every episode. But like I got to be like in scenes with Sarah Jessica Parker, Gwyneth Paltrow, Tim Gunn. I mean, it was like Mariska Hargitay, Deborah Messing. It was insane how many famous people they got.
A couple more. Broad City?
Well, that was just a gift. That was also an offer, which was so nice. And the director of that episode is Lucia Aniello, who's the creator and director of most episodes of Hacks. And I had been an improv coach for Abby Jacobson, and they just said, "Hey, you want to play this?" And I was like, "Thank you so much." And it was a gift. It was a total gift. Julie Klausner did that too for Difficult People. She was just like, "You want to do this thing?"
My next
Oh,
one. So that's such a
sorry.
good show. I just read an article celebrating 10 years now. Yeah, this year.
Yeah, yeah. She just very kindly let me be in that episode, and then I went to my health insurance, and it was like this. Really, I mean, I think it was also a help for them. They didn't have to audition.
Yeah. Finally, Kimmy Schmidt. Is that how you know Tina Fey?
Tina Fey, I know because I did 2 Amex commercials with her, and then she had me on 30 Rock twice. But I will say Kimmy Schmidt was an offer because they had already seen I was playing Donna Linda's assistant, one of the Mole Women's assistants, and they had already seen him in a previous episode, but that actor was on tour and couldn't come back to do the episode. So they just needed another person to fill in. And so they needed it like in 2 days. So they just offered it to me, and it was a thrill. I know Ellie from the UCB, so it was exciting to be like, we know each other.
Improv should not get a hard time. Look at it, spurs so many stars, so many talented people,
Yeah.
everyone you're listing.
Yeah.
This has been such a pleasure. Do you know what's next for you after the Emmys? I'm sure you all the roles that you're trying to choose between, right?
What made you choose this role? They let me have it.
No, the offers are going to be coming in, especially with the red carpet splash that you're going to make.
Exactly. I was just wearing a corset, nothing else. I'm gonna wear like a Meg Stalter outfit, you know?
Love her. Have you met her?
No, never met her.
She's insane. Well, I told you on Instagram that Margaret Cho's a big fan. I mentioned her book to you when she was talking about books, and she said she's a huge fan of yours. She did say, I've never met him, but I love him.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, that is very exciting. Even if she was just trying to be nice, it makes me very happy.
So what's next for you after this?
I don't know yet. I did just shoot a little part on a show for Apple. I mean, the headline is not like Jeff Hiller leads TV show for Apple. I was just I just played a little part in it. And then the hope is that I'll get another job at some point.
You will. You will. Would you ideally be on a steady series again, or in a movie?
I would be in a Mentos commercial. Are you kidding? Like whatever.
None of this is going to your head. I love it.
Until the offers start rolling in, it's kind of hard.
Well, it starts with all the interview requests, and after this, the offers start.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
anyone who watches somebody somewhere, people are still discovering it. So that's such a
true.
big thing. And HBO Family Hacks, that's next. You're friends with the creators. Come on.
I'd love to be on it, but they shoot in LA and I live in New York. But yeah, I would be on Hacks in a heartbeat. That show's so good.
Who else can we call? Michael Patrick King. You need to be on the next season of The Comeback, the final season, the best show of all time. You would be fantastic.
Love that show so much. I'm so glad it's coming back. I love her. I love her. I love her.
Let's put that in the air. Jeff, thank you so much for spending this time with me. I so appreciate it. I'll see you at the Emmys. Again, pick up Jeff Hiller's book, Actress of a Certain Age, and check out Somebody Somewhere. Those 3 seasons are streaming on HBO. It's such a delightful, beautiful, heartfelt show, and I am always encouraging people to give that a watch. All right, guys. Enjoy your weekend. We're going to be back next week for a single episode. We have an exciting guest, and she is a dear friend of mine, and she has a brand new book coming out next week. Her name is Valerie Greenberg, and it's an inspiring, motivational, uplifting conversation as she brings the best energy. Until then, take care of yourselves. I'll talk to you soon.